I don't even know how to begin this interview, except to say that I am unbelievably excited to, first and foremost, be reacquainted with someone I consider to be such a great friend, even though I don't get to see you like maybe once every 14 years, but it is true.
Yeah.
If you were part of the Cool FM days at RJ's, at Lucky 7, at Spanky's, Much Music's Electric Circus, you know how huge Ottawa was when it came to producing amazing artists, and leading that charge was my next guest, is my next guest. 90s, can I call you a Euro dance queen? Because you are.
Well, that's what I've been called. I mean, it doesn't come from me because, he calls himself a queen, but...
I know a few people who call themselves queens.
Nowadays, yeah. I guess so, yeah. You're right.
But, ladies and gentlemen, my guest right now is my beloved friend, Emjay.
I'm so happy to be here.
Oh, my God.
With you, John. It's been so long, too long.
Like we were talking on the phone the other day, and we were like trying to figure out how long has it been.
Well, I almost remember one time I was supposed to go see you. You were doing something remote somewhere, and it didn't happen. I was really disappointed in myself that I didn't go. It was my chance to see you.
But I mean, back in the day, I mean, Cool FM was one of these. It was so rare for a radio station to just pounce on local talent, and in like the early 90s, mid 90s, there was so much great local talent, especially when it came to dance music. Capital Sound, there were countless others as well. So we had the opportunity to, with our club shows that we were doing at RJ's, at Spanky's, to have you in and do that. But anytime I got a chance to talk to you, it was a quick, ladies and gentlemen, here's MJ, and on to stage you'd go.
That's true. Why?
Because you were so bloody popular.
Please.
The Spanky's gig was just one of like 5 or 6 gigs you had that night. It's like, look, I like your little radio station, but I must be going to On Tap or wherever else you were going to perform.
I don't remember where I was going. That was my release party, I believe, for my first single, Sound of My Heartbeat. Listen to the sound of my heart.
Oh, I know the song. I'm just trying to. May have been.
I believe. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm trying to go back, but yeah.
It's funny.
And I was nervous because I think it was the first time I was performing by myself. Like I was in the band, Michael B. in the Power.
So let's tell that story.
Yes.
That's how you and I actually first met. How old would you have been then?
I started when the band originated. I was 12 years old. And it wasn't the whole Michael B. in the Power. It was Michael B. and there was Noel, the drummer, and the keyboardist was there. And I think that was it at that time. But then everybody else came in, Danny, and then Goose was there too.
Oh my gosh,
Claude Larabie was there.
It's all coming back now.
But Julie was after that, and then I left the band for a little while, and I had to beg to come back.
Really?
Yeah, I was really shy, and I was just not feeling comfortable, and I was really insecure. So I left. And then I saw them do a show, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what did I do? And then,
for the listener, Michael B. in the Power was probably the first local artist that Cool FM ever played.
That's true, yeah.
And like Tank Fly, Boss Walk, Jam, Nitty Gritty,
yes.
Let Me Be the One. And it had this whole Prince vibe. Mike's, hang on, there's my Alexa. Alexa, thank you.
You bet. A reminder.
Alexa,
take your pin.
Thank you. She reminded me to take my antidepressant, but you're here, so I don't need to.
Oh, God. Oh, that's such a nice thing to say.
Isn't it?
Yeah,
I had that. It's like I had that planned, but I didn't. But yeah, it had this whole Prince vibe to it.
Yeah, because he loved Prince. So,
yeah, and he had this long.
Sure.
He even had purplish hair, like kind of like what you're.
Right.
Yeah.
I forgot to tell him that the other day because we were together, and I wanted to remind myself, tell him, don't you think I look like you?
So we were playing this amazing local song, and then he had us out to a video shoot for
Body Language.
Body Language was the song.
Yeah.
And that was, I want to say it was filmed at your old high school.
No, it was actually filmed in Gatineau, La Maison. Oh my gosh, La Maison de la Culture. Thank you.
Okay.
Julie, my sister's.
Yeah.
Thank God she's here. No.
Come on, Mike.
Come on, Mike. She's like,
come on, video. Come on, Julie.
We love you. It was filmed in.
So yeah, we got to be part of that, and that's where I finally got a chance to meet the rest of the Power, Michael B. and Power, and you were part of that.
I was, and it was a great beginning. We worked so hard. Mike was a great leader. Like we would have like band practices, and then it was vocal practices because we had to figure out our harmonies and all that, and then there was choreography.
He took that serious.
Oh, he was. Look where he is now. You know, he's doing really well now. So
Mike, by the way, and we've played his music. Mike's
have
with
you?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Mike's with a phenomenal French Canadian group called Le Groupe Swing.
Oui, LGS.
LGS. And it was a phenomenal thing to watch. You know, because Mike ended up being one of my groomsmen in my wedding.
I forgot that. Yeah. That's true.
Yeah, that's how close he and I actually ended up. And again, one of those people that I've lost touch with, but every now and then I'll bump into him at a hockey game or something like that, and it's like picking up like right where we left off, except for the fact that, oh, he's a dad now. Wait, what?
Yes, I know. And he's so good with his kids. I saw him at Independent the other day, and he was amazing.
No doubt.
Yeah.
But that's a guy that I just remember wanted it so bad. And so to see him have that success, and he had, you know, and he would laugh at it because he's Franco-Ontarian, as are you. And he would talk a lot about, you know, in like, you know, just the grocery store or wherever I'd see him, about the frustrations he had that, you know, like they love me in New Brunswick. You know, in the Acadian part of that province. They love me in Northern Ontario. They love me, you know, in pockets in Manitoba. And he's flying to these countries, you know, that are French speaking, but he could not get airplay in Quebec.
I know, and I think that's so sad. But now he has it. Finally, and he deserves it because he's worked so hard. Like he's a hard-working guy.
You guys were all in high school then, or just out of high school?
Mm-hmm. I was, Well, I started at 12, and then we did a lot of, like I said, we were practicing a lot, and then we won a few American Guild of Music Awards.
Cool.
Which was a lot of fun. And it was. I wouldn't change those days at all.
But that was, and it was interesting because Julie and I used to have, Julie now does all kinds of amazing, she's a very motivational speaker.
Yes, she is,
she's helped me a lot with my depression. We had her on doing segments for quite some time.
Oh, good, cool.
So, but you and Julie were the backup singers.
We were, yeah.
And so that was my first time meeting you guys. And all of a sudden, this Euro dance craze out of Ottawa happened, and I'm like, I know this girl. Where do I know her from? And of course, the music director, you know, Jay Lawrence.
Jay Lawrence.
Right? Hey, Jay.
Say, Jay, we love you. We miss you.
Love Jay's program director now at Oz FM in St. John's, Newfoundland. Back home.
Oh, is he?
Yeah,
cool.
That's his home.
Okay.
And a very good friend of mine still. He was best man at my wedding, as a matter of fact. So my world is small. Man, my world is small.
That's what you think.
But he reminded me, he's like, so she was one of the backup singers for Michael B. and the Power. Oh my God.
Yeah.
But it didn't seem, you know, that long between the Michael B. and the Power days and the Emjay days. It wasn't.
Because as soon as the band broke up, we were together for 8 years. And all of a sudden, one day, we just decided to, you know, that was it. And my dad would always say, he's like, well, now you got nothing. And what are you going to do? I'm like, no, Dad, I know something's coming up. I'm telling you, I can feel it. And then the sound man, Paul, who was taking care of our shows, he knew this guy. And I sang a song, or I recorded this song for this, I don't even remember, so long ago. And then the guy from Primus Records, my manager at the time, who was with New Music, heard me. And I got signed in 1994. Yeah. And then that's when it started.
What's it like? And because I go through this quite a bit, and I said this just the other day. We played another. I've featured now probably over 80 local artists. Cool. So I get an opportunity to talk to creative people like you who put this piece of themselves out there.
Scary.
What's it like? Take me back to the first time. When, you know, the song is written, it's recorded, you've been in the studio for God knows how many hours perfecting this thing, and hearing it over and over again, to the point where you're probably sick of it, but you're also, on the other hand, anxious to get it out there. What's it like, that moment you let it go and just see what happens to it?
When I heard it on the radio the first time, I was freaking out. It was...
Oh, for sure.
Me by myself, you know, not with Michael B., which was great, but, you know, it was...
Yeah,
me, Emjay. I'm always crying because I'm so sensitive. But yeah, I was crying. Probably my sister was too, right? Yeah. Yeah, it was amazing.
Did you
it was
know
amazing.
that it was going to be on the radio when you heard it, or was it just...
I'm sure that you're going back a long time there, John. I'm getting old and forgetting, but yeah, probably they told me, but
that's awesome.
yeah, but yeah, it was amazing. It was just there's no other feeling like that. It's like
So, but this thing exploded. Like, it went beyond being played on the radio in Ottawa. You were on every top 40 pop station, anybody who's doing club stuff. I mean, the relationships you would have had with people like Chris Shepard, I'm sure, MC Mario.
Yeah, well, I was signed to MC Mario's label when it was done with new music.
And he just released a new song, by the way.
He did, and my manager works with MC
Of
Mario,
course.
so I'm back in the same.
Of course.
It's so weird, but anyways, it's gonna be different this time though. I don't know if I can say this, and you can probably cut it out, but MC Mario heard the song and he doesn't like it.
No!
That's what he said.
Well,
I
then
think,
MC
I
Mario...
think it's funny.
No,
It's okay. I don't
no.
mind that at all.
Here's what I'm going to suggest to MC Mario. You should remix it
Yeah, well, maybe he should. Yeah, exactly.
to your taste.
He did like, though, because we're redoing Flying to the Moon, and with this...
What?
Yeah, my manager has this great DJ. He's young. He's 23. Oh, I feel
that's
so
young.
old. And he's amazing, but he redid Flying to the Moon, and there's violins in there. It's dramatic. I
Wow.
can't wait to record that one.
See, I find that fascinating because Tiffany just re-released I Think We're Alone Now.
Yeah, you told me that.
She
Yeah.
re-recorded like a brand new version. It kicks ass.
That's it. I didn't hear it. I forgot to go watch it. I'll
So
do that
it's,
when I get home.
it's interesting that an artist and she was 80s, you were 90s, but that you're both sort of this mindset of, there's still an audience out there that gets my music and will remember me. Let's do something different with the same thing we've always...
Because you never know, right? I mean, I was at home for quite a while when I left the music business. I didn't want anything to do with
let's talk about that.
Yeah, we have so much stuff to talk about.
So, I mean, it went from radio play, not just in Canada, internationally.
Yeah, I didn't know about it. There's so much stuff I didn't know about.
Like I mentioned that
yeah.
I mentioned that you were coming in here for an interview, and I heard from DJs around the world. A guy in Australia was like, "Oh, she's my hit pick this week on the top 30."
Maddie,
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
So-
because the song "Living My Life" is playing over there now, and I'm so blessed. Thank you so much. It's amazing. I don't even know what to say. It's crazy. 20 years after, and I'm doing this again. It's
Do
so
you think
cool.
though that that's like back in the day,
Yeah.
MJ?
That's right.
I mean, we were kids, right? And
We
we
were- yeah.
we were just old enough to be going to the clubs then,
Exactly,
right? And we were
yeah.
sort of, you were just old enough to be going to the clubs. I was probably too old to be in the clubs, but
No.
but we
Never
were,
too
we
old.
were of the club generation, and so the people who would have listened to that on the radio and not been able to go to the club, like if they were, even 10 or 15 years younger than us,
Yeah.
now your music would be so nostalgic to them.
Yeah.
Tiffany's music would be so nostalgic to someone of my generation that it absolutely makes great business sense.
It does.
For it to be out there now, right?
Well, my daughter's 14, so I was telling her you can promote me because I've hidden for so long. I didn't want anything to do with the music business, but now I'm back in and I'm excited and I'm happy about it. It was time. It wasn't the time then, it's time now.
So what made you walk away from it?
Stress. It was a lot of I was living a lot of anxiety.
Yep.
Major severe panic attacks.
And we're talking the mid 90s, and so that
Yeah.
was not a conversation. Like you hear more about it.
I never talked about
today.
this. Is the first time I'll talk about my mental health in ever.
Wow. Did you know then what it was?
No, I didn't even, just living through it. I thought I was going crazy. I thought I
Yeah.
was like, what's wrong with me? I'll always remember at Canada's Wonderland, I was doing a show with Coolio and I'm trying to remember who else was there, but Coolio was the biggest artist. So, and Julie, my sister, was with me, and I had a panic attack right before going on stage, and she was there to calm me down. It was awful.
And now has Julie dealt with those herself too?
Yes, she has.
So
yeah.
I mean, I
So
could probably.
she-
I've
yeah.
had a couple of panic. I don't wish them on anybody.
It's horrible.
I would rather coach somebody through a panic attack, I think, than actually have to deal with one.
Even talking about it in those days would get me to have one because I was so afraid to have one. They would happen so often, and I was on the road, and I didn't have them. I was
So
surrounded very well.
I've told the story of when I interviewed Britney Spears, and it would have been right around the time that Baby One More Time had just, it was like, just fading into, like what's next for Britney. She would have been like all of 18 years old. And every kid on my request line was like, oh my God, I want to be her. I want to live that life.
Yeah.
And I sat in that room.
I was one of those people too. Yeah.
Right. And this is what I want to get to is this bubble that you would have been in. And that was my observation from that interview is she was told what to wear, what to eat, what time to get up, where she was supposed to be. The next day was a day off. She wanted to go home and see her sister.
Yeah.
Sorry, we can't do that. We got to take you to Bahamas. I don't want to go to Bahamas again. And it was this constant, and I sat there like I felt so bad for this person. So does that bubble that you're living in, does that amplify anxieties and stresses?
Oh, of course.
So how did you cope with it then?
I had a lot of support. I did have a great family to help me. That was the biggest thing. I don't know how I did cope through it. I just did it. I can't. It's hard to explain.
Is it that you have that next thing booked? You've made that
you
promise.
Have no choice.
You have to be there.
That's right. And
that has to be awful.
But for me, I wasn't as popular as Britney, so it was like low key kind of. But it was still in the same. I can get it because
you had a significant spotlight, more than most.
I guess I don't realize how big it was.
I guess not.
Yeah, I guess not. Yeah.
I mean, you were on Electric Circus on Much Music.
Oh,
coast
so many
to coast,
times.
right?
Yeah, so many times.
You toured the world.
Well, sort of, yeah. Well, not physically, but I did. Yeah, I did do some. I went to Dominican Republic. I did have a show there. I went to the States a couple times. But yeah.
But I mean, okay, so in Canada though, especially, you would have had one hell of a spotlight. And how big were you in Quebec? Because I mean, you're
I was pretty big in Quebec.
Yeah, you're
too.
Franco-Ontarian, and the music, of course, is suited. I think right back to my call, my French exchange to Chicoutimi. It's like
me. I did it.
Absolutely,
did some shows there.
Right away, I'm thinking, like a place like that would just love an Emjay.
Yeah, they did. I remember going there, and they were great. Yeah, Quebec and Toronto. Ottawa wasn't bad. They wouldn't book as much. I didn't have
not as many
shows.
places to book, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, there was RJs and Spankies, but then when those were done,
there's never
Super
been
7.
and there's never been anything like those since.
No, and there's none anymore. Yeah. Like it's hard to book some shows now.
So the anxiety got you. How long was it that you were going through this before you decided I need to step away from this?
Well, my contract was for 5 years with Primus, and I did 3, and the last 2 I said I can't do this anymore. I had to. I quit.
Wow.
I had my contract null and void, and I had to be. I was not well at all. It was like I was losing so much of myself. Like I didn't own who I was. You get confused. You're like, you don't know how to think anymore because everybody's thinking for you, and you lose yourself. You have no control.
Have you talked to other artists? Have they gone through similar things?
I've heard about it, but I've never really spoken about my mental health to anyone.
So you stepped away from the spotlight. And probably at about the right time, too, because the music world certainly sort of went from pop to grunge right around that time.
Yeah.
And rock kind of took over. Then I would hear stories of, you were working and then, she started a family now. So
yeah, I went back to work. Yeah. When I was MJ, I still had a job. I was working at PageLink. It was Bell Mobility at that time. I wanted to keep that job. I was missing a lot of work though, but I wanted to, because the music business you can't really rely on that for money, especially when you're starting out.
The only thing that pays worse than the music business is the radio business.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
It's
true. But when you love what you do, it's so hard to make a decision, right? And I worked. I went to work, didn't like it much. I was living through anxiety. I had a big depression, and it lasted about 10 years.
Was that a struggle for you, balancing this, I have a taste of the real world because I'm working at PageLink, but I'm also MJ, and I want this stardom, but I don't want this stardom. I mean, is that the back and forth struggle? Is that even part of it?
I wasn't thinking about that.
Really?
I was just feeling so guilty because I was like calling in sick a lot
Yeah.
at work because I was exhausted. Because I go on the road a lot. I was on the road a lot, and then I had,
but I get that, and I told this story recently for the Distress Center of Ottawa's 50th anniversary, that I would, so many mornings, radio is all I ever wanted to do. And so many mornings I would call the producer, the morning show producer, I'm stuck in traffic, which was an all-out lie.
Yeah.
I was probably in the parking garage
you
barfing
find
my
excuses.
guts out.
Yeah, you justify everything. You find excuses. Because how
it
you
didn't make
say that?
sense.
I'm having a panic. How do you
Right.
express that?
I'm being sick in the parking lot right now, but I'll be right there.
Yeah, no, especially there's still a stigma, but people understand it more.
Right. I'm 42 years old. I'll be right in, but I'm crying my eyes out right now.
Right. I know how that feels. It's horrible. I would in those days you had to, because we're a call center, so we had to put our hand up to go pee. And I'm like,
God.
I need to tell
Teacher,
Yeah,
excuse
right.
me.
I was always up because I was having, I had IBS because I was nervous all the time. Like my stomach was always, because it was part of my anxiety, and that lasted through, I'd say, oh my gosh, anxiety's always been there. 12 years old and on.
How did you find a way to shut that off, though, when you had to get on stage or do that next radio interview or TV interview?
It wouldn't even show. Like a few shows.
No, it never showed. I would never have known that.
No,
about
nobody
you.
knew. They thought I was so bubbly and happy all the time, which I was, but I was still struggling with.
See, but I get
that
that
side,
because I deal with it myself.
Yeah,
I
right.
get that now.
Yeah.
But try and say that to someone who's never walked
They
in
can't.
those shoes.
It's hard to understand.
It's bizarre.
Yeah,
It just doesn't compute.
No, because if you haven't lived it, it's difficult to know how it feels. I say that all the time when you have an anxiety attack. People say, "Oh, it feels like I'm gonna die." No, you want to. It's morbid, but at that moment, you feel like you want to die because
You just want that
you're
over.
out of control.
You just want that over.
Right?
It's so.
It's uncomfortable.
I can't even find words for it all these years later.
No, and I can deal much better with it now. Like I'm able to breathe. At that time, I was trying to breathe, and when people would tell me, "Are you okay? Are you feeling it right now?"
I am.
Yeah, when we talk about it, that's what happens. Yeah, we get like. When your stomach starts to shake.
But it comes from an empathetic place, right?
It does, because you know
I
how
do.
it feels. You
And
put your hands here when that happens.
And I can
it
only
helps.
imagine the struggle that you would go through. I got to be on much music across the country, across North America right now.
Yeah, it never happened to me before TV. Now that I'm thinking
Interesting.
about it, a few times it was random, right? I remember one show. I think it was in Granby, but I don't remember where it was. Anyways, I had a huge attack in the car. Mom was there with me. I remember, and I had to stop at gas stations because it was like I just needed to go, and it was horrible. I lost so much energy. I was exhausted. And I exhausted before the show, and I was still in a panic. And then, okay, it's time to go on stage. Okay, I guess I'm ready. But then when the music started and I started singing,
The switch goes on.
it went away, and then I was back. I was exhausted, but I was okay. Like,
Yeah.
the feeling of that panic was gone. That was, okay, thank goodness I don't feel that anymore, because it's awful. It's the worst feeling ever.
It is.
Yeah.
So you took a step back, and
I did.
Obviously, good things happen. You've got two beautiful daughters now.
Yes, I do.
They're how
And I
old?
have a stepdaughter as well. 14, 8, and 25. She'll be 25 in July.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So do they know about Mom and the success that you
Oh,
had?
yeah, they do.
What do they think of that?
They like it.
Yeah.
But my daughter Enya, there was this kid in his class. He kept bugging her, singing. He would sing. Was it "In Your Arms"? He would sing all. I'm like, you can tell him I have other songs that he can sing.
your mama's song, and
Well,
I'm
and he
sing it
kept
too.
bugging her, and she was
That's
getting
funny.
mad in the class. She's like, "Okay, can you stop it?" I'm like, "Enya, if it bothers you, she's like, "No, Mom, he's just doing it on purpose." I'm like, "Oh, but maybe you don't know what he's." Anyways, he stopped bugging her with it. But I'm getting
he had
her
a
now.
crush, and he had a
Yeah,
crush.
I don't know. I don't know. listen, he's 13 years old. But now I'm using...
13-year-olds don't go looking for mom's music to sing
that's
to,
right.
mom's kid.
Well, it must be cool, though, knowing, like, stepping outside of myself. And, if I had a friend that had a mom on TV, I thought that would, that would be pretty cool. But now I'm using her, not that I'm using her, but I asked her the other day, can you promote my new song to your friends? For so long, I hid, and I didn't want, no Facebook. I have no phone, Instagram, all that. I didn't have anything. I didn't want any social media. I was hiding.
Because I tried to find you.
Oh, I was hiding. Nobody could find me. So many people tried, and I'm like, oh my gosh. You know what I told myself? Because the music business was... I was fed up with it. I stopped singing for 5 years, and I knew something was wrong with me because I sing to everything. Like, somebody's going to tell me a phrase, I'm like Celine Dion, I'll sing it. I'll sing because the carpool karaoke thing. She reminded me of myself. But anyways.
You just wanted her shoes.
I did, but I wear like size 7. She's probably like a size 10, that lady. She's an Amazon lady. I'm 5'2" with Jesus.
Oh, so her shoes would fit me is what you're saying.
Yeah, no,
all right.
I don't know. But so I asked my daughter, and I go, Enya, if it's a problem, if you feel overwhelmed, don't feel like you have to. She's like, no, Mom, it's okay. So now she's awesome. Promoting her mother at school.
That's so great.
Yeah, I think it's funny. I love it. See, now that I'm back and I feel much better, and I had to deal with what I had to deal with for 10 plus years, getting back to myself. I did a lot of spiritual stuff with my sister and my mom.
Be a long journey. Yeah.
It was.
Sure.
And I regressed a lot of the times, and sometimes I would feel better, and then something would happen, and I would regress and go even lower than I was before. And I had thoughts that I is not in my nature to have, but I was having these dark thoughts, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is too much. I have to get out of it.
The frustration makes it worse too, doesn't it?
It does. And the guilt.
Damn it, I had this.
Yeah.
I learned this. I overcame this. I got to a good point. Why am I back here again?
Right. Exactly.
And it compounds things. It makes it heavier every single time.
It does.
But you probably know now this is likely to happen again. So you're more... Okay.
I hope not.
I'm sorry.
I hope not. No,
but if it does, you're probably better prepared for it.
I am.
Right?
I have my moments. I do have some days that it's a struggle.
Sure.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago we were in a band, my sister, my cousin, and I.
I saw that.
And
by the way, I've known your sister Julie just as long as I've known you.
You have,
and
yeah.
I run into Julie every now and then at Walmart parking lots and things like that. I didn't know you sang.
She does. Yeah,
and
she brought you something.
Singer.
She is. And she brought you something. We did like an ABBA tribute.
I saw that video.
And it's not the most professional thing, but we just wanted to do it for fun. And then we started getting shows, and we're like, what the heck's going on? It's like super cool, and just singing something else.
Amazing.
I love it.
Well, sure.
We did the ABBA tribute. We had a show, and we did 3 shows together. So now, yeah.
Well, okay, so beyond ABBA, what else plays typically in your house?
80s, 90s. I love 80s music. Yep. 80s is my 70s for sure. Yeah, Julie, disco. Yeah, when
some
disco comes
pop,
up,
right?
Yeah, of course. And there's a big range because there's Alan Parsons Project. There's Pink Floyd. There's so many artists that
See, I'm like that. I was that kid in school. Again, I always wanted to be in radio, so it was all the top 40 stations. It was CFRA and CFGO and whatever they were playing. And I'll never forget grade 6, and the teacher said, well, for graduation, everybody bring in your records and tapes. I'm just going to pause there for the kids to get that explanation from mom and dad. Yeah. And we'll have a little grad party with some pizza. And I show up with Sean Cassidy.
Oh,
to
yeah.
Do Run Run. Yeah. Well, I was 16 and sick of school. I didn't know.
That was your time, you and her. Me, a little less.
You're a little younger. Bay City Rollers and stuff like that. And that's what I thought music was. And every kid in my class was like, what's wrong with you?
Nothing.
Here's Max Webster. Here's Pink Floyd. I'm like, what? Because I was the oldest.
Okay.
So I didn't have anybody sort of introducing me to music other than my dad, who was more into big band and jazz. So that's all I knew of. And like, well, this is the stuff that plays on FM. What's FM? So
Yeah, I remember AM.
So when you talk about how 70s disco and 80s
Yeah.
stuff is sort of your jam, but then you sprinkle in some Alan Parsons Project, I know exactly what you're saying. It's like suddenly this whole new world.
Because of Julie,
There you go.
and my dad, my mom, we had like, it was always music at our house, always. Like I can't even have not music in my house because I go crazy. I'm like, what? This is too quiet.
All right.
It's too quiet in here.
What song comes to your mind when I say Sunday morning breakfast?
Sunday morning breakfast. Are you putting me on the spot?
Yeah, what song would have been playing in the house?
Oh, Julie, help me.
You're waking up
Neil
Sunday morning.
Diamond. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. Good. Thank you. Thank God you're here. Alain Barrière. Ma vie. That's a good song. I love that song.
I want more of that. See, for me, it's Gordon Lightfoot. I hear Gordon Lightfoot and
yeah.
I'm instantly back in Toronto at my aunt and uncle's place when we'd get together with our cousins, and you'd wake up and Gordon Lightfoot was playing, and you knew that there was yummy breakfast waiting for you.
Oh, yeah.
So, all I'm saying is there are certain songs that just remind me of,
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
those family moments, and I'm sure you've got it too, just based on how you said there was always music in your house.
Yeah,
so.
we do. We had the big reel-to-reel. You call Julie has
Oh,
still.
yes!
Yeah, she still has it at her house. Yeah.
That's good to know because I think I've got a lot of really great interviews. My Janet Jackson interview.
You
is on a
did
reel-
Janet Jackson interview?
Yeah, girl.
Oh man.
I was somebody before you came along.
Okay. Oh please. You're
Janet,
funny.
Janet Jackson
I
made time
love
for me.
her.
You never
yeah.
did.
No, I'm so.
Okay, you came to spank
So
this for her. She
sorry,
didn't do
yeah.
that. Fair enough.
I didn't have any control. It's not my fault. Oh, that's
Control?
just,
Janet Jackson?
Yeah, exactly. Control.
I got the nicest compliment from Janet Jackson, actually, because at the end of our interview, she said, "Is that it?" Because she says, I was waiting for the interview to start. She says,
Oh, that's nice.
yeah, when you're talking, I mean, from a Jackson especially, I
Right.
mean, what would they have, there's nothing you can ask them. They haven't been asked. And she's like, I just felt like it was like a couple of us just talking. Oh, thank you, Janet Jackson.
It's true. That's how I'm keep saying, oh my gosh, I'm going off subject. I'm talking too much. But it's fun. I love it. So
Plus,
yeah,
it's
and I
internet radio and it's a
understand.
podcast and a video cast, and I don't really care.
It's not live,
There's
right?
no structure. It's not live.
No, but
listener,
Janet
it's live. MJ got up early and had
Oh yeah.
threw on her Neil Diamond and had breakfast.
I did have breakfast though this morning. It's rare that I do. I don't do breakfast.
But
I
so
should.
you took a step back from the
Yes.
music business.
Yeah.
Let's go back to that.
Yep.
You weren't completely gone because every now and then a video would show up
Yeah.
of somebody on a cell phone. You would be at a club in Montreal or whatever
Yeah.
else.
Oh, I
Was
got
that-
criticized so much.
Why you sounded
Because
so
I
bright.
gained weight, right?
So
and I
what?
changed. I had one point. I have short red hair, which what people don't adapt that well because they try to get me to go back blonde because
I get it.
and they say, well, they'll recognize. I'm like, yeah, but I don't feel it right now.
You know
and
why I
wanna
understand that?
change
Because of all the podcasts that I've done here with Jesse and Jenna and the like.
Yeah.
And we've had, everybody, a number of people who've been, anchors on CTV Morning Live. And, like Leanne Lang was just in here. And they talk about they'd wear an outfit and they would just get bombarded with emails going, that's the wrong outfit. You shouldn't be wearing that.
Right?
So I can only imagine
It's so like
you're the Electric Circus girl and now all of a
And
sudden
I was-
you have red hair.
I was fit in those days. I was 20 something. I didn't have any kids.
You're
I
still-
was
you're
on
still-
the road.
you're
That's
still a
very-
bombshell. You're
that's
still
very
gorgeous.
That's what my husband says too. Thank
Well,
you.
he's right.
I'm lucky to have him because I went up to 200 pounds at one point because I was sick, right? And I was on
MJ,
medication. And
it's all attitude. It's
well,
all
that's right. Well,
attitude.
people are so mean.
Well,
People are so mean.
okay, so I mean, how do you deal with that then?
Well, it's hard to I'm getting better at it.
Especially as a
yeah.
woman, because I know that women
Yeah.
get more affected by this, I think, than
Of
guys
course.
do.
Yeah, and I was talking to Mike Benak about that because we'll talk about that later.
Mike,
But-
who was 100 pounds soaking wet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's such a he has a trainer, and I started doing my exercise for about a month. I have a Bowflex, and I was going really good. I was super
Yep.
proud, and then I wasn't feeling well for a couple days, and then it just I
know, the minute
I
you're out
was
routine, right?
I was so mad at myself.
I know.
It's so hard. It really is.
I'll take you to my basement later, and it's a shrine to all the old fitness equipment that I've purchased over the years.
I put some old posters of myself as MJ. Well, 'cause-
Okay, so does that inspire you?
well, it did for a little bit, but then it just, I just went. It's too hard.
They didn't become
But
dartboards, did
it's-
they?
No.
No. It's not that bad. Okay.
No, but I'll start up again. But anyways, yeah, it was, it's hard, especially that I wasn't totally myself when I went back because I had stopped. Like I was away and nobody could find me for about 5-6 years or so, or even more than that. And then all of a sudden this guy, this friend that I worked with knew this guy, and he wants to book you some shows. I'm like, and I did go because I missed it so much.
Sure.
And it was great. But yeah, I wasn't the same MJ as they remembered, I had like, what can you do? But it's okay.
Because you sounded exactly like
I
the same
sound the
MJ.
same. I just didn't
The
look.
face was the same to me.
Well, yeah.
But I mean, it was 10 years later. I mean,
All
people need
right.
to look at themselves and go...
That's what people, that's what happens. We're all humans. And, when you're feeling insecure, I still do, of course, and they just project that onto somebody else.
I guess.
That's what it is. And if you can that's what I do. I remind myself.
Or is it because they had that poster of you, they had that album of you, therefore that's the reference point? They don't have that for
yeah,
themselves,
of course. Yeah,
right?
that's right. Well, we do.
They've seen themselves every day and moved on.
See, I would do the same if there's an actress or somebody I haven't seen in a long, long time.
Right, time's supposed to stand still.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, they changed. And then, not in a bad way, but you can portray that in a bad way. If
Their last movie was 20 years ago. Of course they've changed.
Well, like I've noticed, even when I was younger, like some people just stay the same and they look the same as they did in high school. Throughout my career, I have pictures that I don't even look at right.
As he poses for the camera going, me, right? Sorry.
Well, you still have the same face. But yeah, no, I don't even look the same in a lot of the pictures when I was MJ. I still refer myself as MJ in the past. It's so weird. I don't know why I do that.
But you know what? I mean, if I just bumped into you, I mean, I knew you were coming today, so of course I knew who you were when you walked up to the front door. But had I bumped into you at like Saint Laurent or whatever it was, absolutely I would have recognized you.
Really?
In a heart.
That's good.
In a heartbeat, in the sound of my
Cool.
heartbeat.
Yes.
No, absolutely.
Because one guy I worked with, I was shopping and he recognized me. I'm like, oh my gosh. I was so happy that day. I'm like, you recognized me?
Yeah.
I look like totally different because of people's perception of what they would say, right? And you can't define yourself with that. You gotta, you learn to deal with it.
So let's talk about MJ today.
Yes.
How you feeling?
Good.
About yourself?
I feel good about myself. That's the difference. In those days, I was all, small and I was in shape, whatever. I didn't feel good about myself at all.
It would have been a grind, and it would have exhausted you.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah. And today, I'm happy with who I am inside. Of course, I would like to, make certain changes and get healthier and stuff.
Wouldn't we all?
But yeah, right? I mean, some people can do that, but it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of energy.
And it gets harder as you get older.
And when yeah, exactly.
It does.
And it's not, I would compare myself a lot to other people. How can they do that and I can't do that? Well, I got to accept that I'm not those people.
Yeah.
And I have, I give my energy somewhere else. That's what happens,
You're a mom. You got 2 kids.
I have a husband.
You got a husband.
Yeah.
You got, real life going on.
Yeah.
Your sister is just obviously, the biggest pain.
God,
I love your sister.
I love her too.
And your sister, and by the way, Julie, your sister's been my connection to you the whole time. So
Yes.
whenever I just need that, I'm playing MJ. Hey, Julie, I'm playing MJ.
She would tell me. Yeah.
It was always, you were my conduit to that. So this is an amazing moment for me. And
me as well.
Thank you. Because we're not playing this in real time, so this airs on Friday. On Thursday, I kind of let the cat out of the bag, and I did play your new song.
Did you? Good. I was wondering if you did. Why not? Yeah, that's a good idea.
Because that was such a huge part of my life. And being around that, and that you would mention me, and that Capital Sound would mention me, and other artists, just a little thank you in their liner notes of their albums and stuff. I mean, that stuff, that was such an important part of not just my life, but I recognize that for my listeners back then too, and they're the same people that would have been listening to your music, that's an important thing in their life, and they remember that, and they hold on to, I remember her at such and I remember being at Electric Circus. I remember hearing her on the radio.
Yeah.
So that you've got new music. How many years has it been since you've released new music?
Oh, gosh.
At least 14?
At least 14, yeah. I did go in studio to we tried to redo Flying to the Moon. That didn't work out, and to sing some new songs. Yeah, more than 15 years for sure.
And how did this song come about?
Well, my manager, we've been friends for quite a while, and he had booked me a show about in 2014. It was a club where Tycoon Records, the owner, was owning this club. So I went to sing
that's
there.
convenient.
Yeah, isn't it? Yeah, they brought me back. Yeah, well, no, it was in Yellow that owned the club, but yeah. It's okay. And yeah, we reconnected, and at that time we were talking about doing an album, but it never happened. It never happened. I can't speak anymore. It never happened. So I thought, okay, well, it's not time. It wasn't the right moment, I guess. So, years after we reconnected, and we just started talking, and Abazi, the guy who wrote Living My Life, I wrote the lyrics.
Okay.
He wrote the
melody
and composed the music. Yeah, we went into studio. Well, no, about a year ago in August, we had a meeting. Julie was with me, of course, my sidekick. And my sister.
I need a Julie.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, so we talked about it. It took that amount of time to go into studio and to record the song. So we finally did. And yeah, things are just slowly happening, and it's just at the right pace. I love it. Like, it's just...
I love that you say just at the right pace.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that pressure...
is not there this time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That if this works, great, and if it doesn't, so what?
Yeah, because I was getting like...
You got back into the studio and you recorded a song.
Exactly.
And you can just enjoy that.
I'm just lucky that I'm able to do that. And it's playing in Australia.
Yeah.
And Brazil. And I'm like, what's going on? Like, I just let it go.
See, you and I are so much the same, different paths, but, everybody's like, don't you miss conventional? I miss the paycheck.
Yeah.
I am much more happy and creatively inspired doing this. And if it works and I want it to work, then that's awesome. Mm-hmm. And if it doesn't, you know what? And I beat myself up a lot about it still. And there's a great expression that I heard from a buddy of mine. You can't read the label from inside the pickle jar. Oh. That sometimes you need to take that step back and just sort of go, why am I doing it? I'm doing this because I don't care if it's one listener or a million listeners.
Exactly.
I get to turn the microphone on every single day and express myself. And if somebody buys into it, that's awesome. And if they don't, I don't give a shit anymore.
That's how I feel.
And when and when that pressure is gone, it's a lot more fun, isn't it?
Isn't it? Yeah, it is. It is.
And isn't that why we do what we do?
You can absorb it now. It's like when I sing on stage, before it was just like, okay, sing and do whatever you got to do. Okay. Now I'm like singing and I'm like, open up my arms, feeling it, like being in the moment. And because that moment's not going to happen again,
I love that.
Yeah.
When are we going to see you live again?
Oh, geez. Soon, I guess.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, we're working on some stuff. It's hard to get, there are many clubs now, and they don't, it's not like in the 90s. I did a lot of way back, throwbacks, 90s, but it seems like it's like fading away more and more. So...
Well, I'll set up a concert. I got a big deck out back.
Yeah, we can do
deck. DECK. A big patio in my backyard. Let's have you,
Why not?
I could probably cram 20 people on there.
Sure. I'd do it.
But I mean, like in Montreal, you got to be big in Montreal still. You got to have contacts in Montreal, Toronto, places like that.
Yeah.
That you could go and do club shows.
We still, yeah, but as I said, they don't do bookings like that anymore. It's hard. Yeah. I mean, my manager had a meeting last week. We haven't got a confirmation yet.
So we'll look forward to your next performance in 20 years when you're at an old
Well,
folks
that's right.
home. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm like, it's the time now, people.
Ladies and gentlemen, some golden oldies from the 90s.
Gosh.
And Emjay. Listen to the sound
I'd
of my heart beating.
I'd still probably do it. But
I would have like this pacemaker sound effect in the background just because I'm that guy. Is that awful?
Oh, you sure?
Tell us about this song, because
Yes.
what are we? We're 44 minutes into the interview. I was hoping, half an hour to an hour, so we're pretty much smack dab in the middle of that.
Okay.
Tell me about the new song. What inspired the lyrics? Where did they come from? And because it worked out so beautifully when I put this promo together, because of course we were able to play, In Your Arms, Fascinated, and then Where Is She?
It was an amazing promo, by the
Where
way. I
is
was
she now?
crying. I was like, oh my God, this is beautiful.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, it
Because
was great.
I wrote the promo without even sort of thinking of the song, and as I was putting it together and editing, Where is she now? I'm living my life.
Right? I loved it.
That line just
Perfect.
jumped out to me, and it was like, oh, like it was just meant to be. It literally fell out of the sky and into my computer.
Cool.
So tell us about the song. What inspired it?
When I get a song, I get the feel of it, obviously. And I was writing the lyrics, and I put some thoughts together, and what comes up with the feeling of the song.
Do you hear a melody in your head when you write?
That's the one thing I've never had the chance to do.
Interesting.
I did it with Mike a couple weeks ago, but because we worked on a song together.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I love that you still are friends. That's great.
Oh, it was a wonderful experience. Cool. Yeah, we had a lot of fun. Yeah, I just we did the melody, so I wanted to sit down with him so he can show me how he does that, because I was given the song.
Do you play any instruments?
I don't, but I'm teaching myself with YouTube to play piano.
Yeah, well.
I've always wanted it, but again, I'm not consistent in anything, so I start then.
So as a songwriter, then, do you think that's an advantage?
Yes, for
because
sure.
you're not polluting your mind with how this has to sound.
Exactly.
You're just putting words to paper because those are your thoughts, and it flows in some melodic form for you.
Exactly.
And then you're able to trust somebody who is musically inclined to put their interpretation to it.
Yeah, that's right.
Have you ever been not okay with the music somebody put to a song you wrote?
Usually the song is there before I put the lyrics on. Yeah, I get the song with the melody and the music.
So you do hear it in your head. Okay.
I do, yeah.
Right.
Sorry. But yeah.
Amazing.
That's mostly. But I always felt insecure to figure out the melody myself, but I was watching Mike do it, and I'm like, okay, that seems easy enough. He's like, just don't be afraid to put
it seems easy enough, but I can't. When you watch someone who's really good at it, the stuff just flows from.
Well,
them.
exactly.
Like I could watch you write a song, and I would my jaw would drop to the ground. Like how are these words flowing from her?
I can't even explain that, because I figured out that I'm good with words. When I write memos or stuff down, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so better than I thought I was.
Is there a pattern to it? Does it rhyme all the time, or
usually? It sounds better when it
There's
rhymes.
got to be that hook, right? That's got to
rhyme.
Yeah,
but I like that song from Stone Temple Pilots when he says, "Why do my song have to rhyme all the time?"
Yes,
I love that. I'm like, that's so true. Because sometimes people will write music and it doesn't rhyme and it sounds amazing.
Because I wrote lyric after lyric after lyric in high school. It ended up, and I've still got the book of lyrics kicking around here somewhere. That's how I spent my time in typing class. Whatever girl I had a crush on that day, I would sit there and I would type out a song. And it would always rhyme. I look back on it now, and I swear to God, if my therapist ever gets his hands on it, we're going to be digging deep into John's past. Because there's some serious question marks about John's high school years. You were a troubled young man, John. I needed love.
Yeah, that's all we do. All we need is love, right?
Da, 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 da. Look at me, I'm a backup singer for Emjay now. Check that off the resume. Fantastic. So that's how songs just sort of flow out of you then, in this rhyming, melodic kind of. Mm-hmm. I would love to see some of the stuff that never left your house.
Oh gosh,
that never left the kitchen table.
I should have brought that. Yeah, I get ideas from I'm watching some shows and I get, oh, this word sounds really cool, so I'll write it down. Or this phrase, like, you got to be careful because you don't want to copy. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But you play around with the words and it's just the ideas, and then it's just. But it's the feeling you get when you hear the song. That's how I do it. It took me about maybe. To be really finished, it took a week. Like, I'm slow at writing music. Listen, some people can write in 20 minutes.
It takes what it takes. I have been working. I want to write a book.
Oh, cool.
in the worst way about my
yeah.
struggles with depression and how,
Why not?
you know,
That's
despite
good.
losing my job, I'm still in the radio business and I'm still, you know, sort of a pioneer, if you will, for the radio industry. Ironically, I run the #1 website in Canada for radio job postings.
Cool.
It's not doing me any good, but,
yeah,
you know, but there's a lot of bits and pieces to my story, you know, being adopted and, you know, on and on and on. And I struggle with, you know, because I, like you know, I'll get to the cottage in New Brunswick and okay, I've got 2 weeks. And the words just start flowing. Once you start that writing process,
Yeah.
and, you know, something will happen. We need to go, you know, here, there, it's dinner time, whatever else. And suddenly you just end up in that, damn, it's not flowing anymore. And you're frustrated to go back to it. And one of the many people that I've been very fortunate in my life to work with, I call him my life coach, if you will, a business coach of mine, JJ, you know, said to me very succinctly, he says, stop trying to write the book, write a paragraph.
A step at a time. Yeah.
And eventually the book will have been written.
That's right. Because you put
So-
a lot of pressure on yourself. You want it to be good. And yeah.
So that
you
a song
just-
takes
yeah.
a week, that's pretty fast as far as I'm concerned. When I think of how intricate a song can be,
Yeah.
that you would have written the initial thing, gone back to it a couple of times, edited it again.
Exactly. Yeah.
You
You make a
know.
lot of changes in there. That doesn't flow.
A
Oh,
week
maybe
is
this
fast.
word. Yeah. It is fast.
It's amazing.
And I rewrote Flying to the Moon, a French version of Flying to the Moon as well, which was so cool.
Voler à la lune.
No, actually,
No?
it's we kept the Flying to the Moon
And
part.
how bad did I get that right?
Yeah, that was good
Voler-
actually. Voler vers la lune, I guess.
Vers
Flying
la
to the
lune?
moon or
Okay.
à la lune is good too.
I don't get to speak French anymore.
Yeah.
I miss it.
Yeah. Oh, I
We
speak.
should, now we'll do the interview in French.
Okay.
And
Vas-y.
it'll be the quietest you've ever heard Milky in a long, long time.
Well, you said a couple words. You're pretty good.
You know what? I took French immersion in school, and I did all these French exchanges. So I did 4 French exchanges. I spent a summer in Sherbrooke, a summer in Thetford Mines, Chicoutimi-Jonquière. Eh ben voyons, Guylaine.
Guylaine. Ay, ben voyons, Guylaine. I love it.
So you know, mon français c'était toujours meilleur que la plupart de les étudiants que j'ai allé à l'école avec. And then I ended up working in this industry where, okay, I could speak French.
You speak better than I do.
So I doubt that. So,
You have no slang
so-
words, and it's
but,
super proper.
Yeah. Oh no, there's lots of slang.
Yeah, I'm sure. But
Let me hang around, you know, a few of my Quebecois friends for long enough,
Yeah.
and it comes right back.
Yeah.
But but all this to say that, you know, like the only time I would ever get to use French on the radio was there's an accident on Saint Laurent.
oui, c'est Laurent. I love that.
Saint Laurent. That's it. That was it. You know, we need somebody who
That's
can,
good though.
But that was the only chance. It was just such a shame because I remember in kindergarten, my kindergarten teacher, Madame Louise, her head spinning off her shoulders going, "C'est qui ça qui parle français? C'est parfait."
Oh.
I thought I was in trouble.
Oui,
C'est moi.
no. I love it when you speak French. It's nice.
I like it when you speak English
Okay.
because it helps me out a lot because my French is just not what it used to be. She is Emjay. The new song is called
Living my life.
And she's back. Is there an album coming? Is there more new music
We're
coming?
Talking about an album.
Cool.
It might take a while, but we'll get to it.
On her own time, right? Because she can.
And my manager's great. Like he gets,
Seems like it. I've had a couple of communications with him.
He was around. Like when I first did my shows, he was a photographer, and then over the years he started booking shows, and he's been in the business for a long, long time.
Right on.
And he knows my background, and he knows what I've been
Salut,
through.
Sylvain.
Oui, salut Sylvain, oui, on t'aime. And I feel lucky. I feel lucky, and I feel like it's time. It was time.
Nice.
Yeah,
Video?
we're talking about it.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it takes money, right? That's the part
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah.
We'll see where that
That.
goes. We need a photo shoot too, because a lot of the pictures on Facebook, I mean, they're like pictures that were taken, like it's not professional at all. But that's gonna come too. No pressure.
But you know what? I mean, and speaking as someone who does photography a little bit, and I'm not pitching myself at all, but I mean, the
true,
photos that these iPhones do now.
It's
I'm
surprising.
still rocking the iPhone 5S, by the way. But
I don't even have one.
My sister Cheryl's got the iPhone 10, and she took
wow.
she took a picture of me on St. Patrick's Day, and I thought, why the hell have I invested all this money in fancy camera equipment? Like,
You
it
can use your
eliminates the background.
I know.
You can move the lighting to where you, like, you know, anyway.
I know, it's getting crazy. It's so cool, though. But, yeah.
Makes you wonder where this is all headed. Crazy stuff. My God. Can it not be 14 years before I see you again?
Oh, absolument pas.
You are such...
We're gonna
you're just,
do this again, for sure.
You're just an amazing energy.
Yes.
You've always been this amazing energy to be around.
Thank you.
That
You
hasn't
as well.
changed.
Yeah.
That hasn't changed.
It's better now, I think. Now I'm more myself, and
It's better if you feel like you're more yourself.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's important.
Yeah, it is important.
You
So
look,
important.
You look great. You sound amazing.
Merci.
I'm so
Merci.
excited for this day. I'm so glad it finally is. I've got tears. I'm so excited.
I'm so happy too. Thank you. Stop it!
We said it on the phone though, didn't we? That it's like,
I know.
you know,
You're gonna make me cry.
You're one
My
of those-
mascara, it's not waterproof.
You're one of those people that I can not talk to. I hate that I don't talk to for like 10, 15 years. But all of a sudden it's like we just picked up where it left off.
Yeah, and it's I'm more like contacting people now, and it's not the end. No,
Don't
for
be a
sure.
stranger.
I won't be.
We
I
love
won't
you on
be.
BTR.
Thank you.
We are.
Thank
more
you
than-
for playing my
Oh,
music.
You're a huge part of my radio history. I can't imagine having my own station and not having MJ on it. I just can't.
That means so much. Yeah, because it's so difficult to, being from Ottawa, and it's so hard to get on radio stations. Very difficult.
It's got to be even harder now.
Yeah, and they want these artists that are top 40 and stuff, and I'm like, can't you just push your own, your own people a little bit?
But this day and age, because I mean, like we're talking, in the 90s, you would meet with the local music director, the local program director,
Yeah.
and you had that relationship. And now it's all being programmed out of head office, and every station's logo is the same, and they're all, the
Yeah.
playlist is the same. And it really comes down to, did you have the right person buy the right steak and the right glass of wine for the right person at the right time in order, to fill that void on their national
That's
playlist?
so true. I
It really
remember
is.
like having to go to a restaurant and then courting.
Schmooze, and
Yeah. And
you had to sell yourself.
you did.
But it was advantageous in that the local program director and music director were able to at least say, yes, I'm putting this on my station.
Yeah.
I remember the fact that Cool FM would add a record. Other stations would see that and go, okay, that's just not the case anymore. I
Yeah.
wonder about what it's like being an artist now and trying to get that airplay, or if they even care about the airplay.
Now with these iTunes and Spotify and
Yeah.
all that, I mean,
What was the chart you were on the other day? You were quoting a chart?
yes. Where was that? Well, that was
But it was like a
in
download
Australia.
chart, wasn't it?
Oh no, that was iTunes. It's
That's
iTunes.
amazing.
I mean, it went to number 132 to 115. I'm happy about that. I'm just being there.
So somebody's finding that by typing your name in, I guess?
I don't know how that works. Yeah, you buy the song on.
Yeah, well, I mean, Julie's in the background being, buy the song. It's only $129.
It's true. Yeah. You bought it twice. I have to go buy my own song too, just to support myself, Why not? I don't let that bother me, because in those days I was getting frustrated.
I know you're saying that sarcastically, but as someone who does podcasts, I feel like an ass if I don't download my podcast. I'm not helping myself out.
All right.
Download the damn podcast,
Why
John.
not?
Yes, add a number.
Yeah,
For sure.
exactly. Why not?
Oh, MJ, I could keep talking. We keep saying goodbye, but then it's never goodbye.
But it's okay. I'll come back.
You're going to come back?
Yeah, for sure.
With the next single or
with
this
the
single?
next single,
Oh,
yeah.
you're going to perform on my patio.
I will, yes, for sure. I'll do a little party with wine and cheese.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. I would love to find an opportunity, actually. And I've got a couple of local breweries and things like that I've been talking to. That might be a fun opportunity.
Yeah.
right.
I'm in.
Obviously, you and I have reason to talk again soon.
Oh, of course we do.
Merci, Julie.
Merci, Julie.
Merci, MJ.
Merci.
Why don't you introduce the song?
This is the song Living My Life from Abazi Project, which I'm a feature on it. So it's not really my song, but I'm a feature on it.
It's MJ.
I know, I'm helping him out. No, I'm
MJ.
kidding. I'm kidding. I'm really lucky that I got a chance to work, that he wrote this great song. I think it's good and I like it. And I was happy to do the lyrics on there. And I hear it on YouTube and I'm freaking out because I see it's a lyric video and I see my words on YouTube. That's just a gift in itself. So yeah, so I'm living my life.
And now you, the listener, get to hear it on blasttheradio.com. MJ, thank you so much.
Thank you so. I'm so happy. I'm so happy I came.